Welcome again. So we're back to plenary, and I'm going to invite the moderators, each moderator of the parallel session, to report very shortly on what was discussed during those sessions. And please, you can keep using Slido. This is still very useful to have your comments, so as your input is valuable, I encourage you to still using Slido. First, I'm giving the floor to Mina Stareva, moderator of panel session 1 on capacity building for training opportunities on IT skills.
Thank you very much, Adeline, and good afternoon, I must say, to everyone. The focus of the session, which I had the pleasure to moderate, was on how best to support cultural heritage professionals with little or without IT skills to enable them to make the best use of the tools of the Cultural Heritage Cloud and, of course, to actively participate in the community which we are building together. So 3 main takeaways. Capacity building for training opportunities on IT skills is an essential investment in empowering the cultural heritage sector and professionals. The cultural heritage sector must adapt to the rapidly changing technological landscape to meet the needs of a digital world. And capacity building for IT skills is an ongoing process that requires collaboration and continued learning, which is also the purpose of today. So against this backdrop, the Cultural Heritage Cloud could act as a catalyst, of course, in bridging the digital disparities and gap by, for example, mobilizing EU funding programs to support modern IT equipment, broadband internet access, and adequate training, also access to infrastructures, as well as access to training opportunities provided by existing excellent initiatives such as the digital research infrastructures in arts and humanities, DARIA, Europeana, or initiatives under the European Institute of Technologies. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Mrs. Stareva. Now for session 2, I'm giving the floor to Mr. Richard Buchs about developing the collaborative work on protection and exploitation on intellectual property rights. Richard, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Adeline. From our session, we had a lively but far too short session. There were many interesting and valuable contributions that we will keep in mind that we were not able to discuss in detail. But very, very briefly, I could mention maybe 3 to 4 points from as conclusions. And the first is that we can conclude that the management of intellectual property rights is a very crucial activity for cultural heritage institutions. Copyright, as one of our speakers pointed out, may increase income to institutions, but it can also be a major break to outreach, which is the basic mission of many institutions. So the balance and the way to manage it is quite a critical issue. The international standards for the rights statements in the cultural heritage sector are very important. It's something pointed out by one of our speakers, and I think the value here is to have something more homogeneous on an international scales. And last but not least, we also wanted to be clear, and we had some comments from the audience on this also, that such questions will not be solved by technology. This is not what we are pretending, but the aim with these solutions, the cloud platform and others, is to facilitate solutions, to make them possible. But the solutions have to be found in terms of governance of these platforms and agreements. It's a human question, not a technological one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brooks. And last but not least, the session 3, building a community of practice for and with the users about expectations and challenges. Let me give the floor to Mrs. Irena Kowalczyk-Kaziora.
Thank you very much, Adeline. It was a pleasure to have this very short session about the community building. It was, like in the case of Richard, quite a short session, but with a lot of inputs, and I was very happy to read a lot of remarks from the audience in the Slido. So we have material to think about. I think that the 3 presentations that we had from Europeana, Professor Hivonen from Finland and Peter Plesmeyer from Germany were very rich, and they showed the difficulties and the potential of the cloud. The conclusion was that the cloud has the main task, in a way, objective, to provide professionals with findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable data. But there are some challenges that concern, for example, languages. The diversity of languages is very important. There was also a very important remark about education and a kind of criticism that we put too much focus on museums. In fact, that there are a lot of people interested in cultural heritage, and this is very encouraging. Also, people from the education sector are interested by the cloud, and they would like to be part of this community. So we know that everyone wins by collaboration. And I had the impression that people agree that the wisest people learn from other successes. And to make the cloud a success, we needed this very strong, self-driven and voluntary community. Many people are ready to join the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Irena. As we are running late, I'm now directly giving the floor to Mrs. Joanna Drake, Deputy Director General of the DGRTD, for the closing remark and next steps.
Thank you so much, and I hope you can hear me well. So yes. This has been a very exciting session with a lot of interest generated all across the board. So it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here today with all of you to mark such a successful event and also a successful conclusion of this event with the next steps. In particular, I would like to thank Commissioner Gabriel, MEP Erle, and also MEP Georgoulis for their valuable presence and support for the Cultural Heritage Cloud Initiative. Their involvement underscores the importance of cultural heritage cloud and the cultural heritage sector's digitization. The digital transformation of the cultural heritage sector is one of the biggest challenges the sector is facing, and the cloud will play a key role in opening new avenues and opportunities for digitization. I would also like to thank all the speakers of today's event. We have seen some truly inspiring projects that have demonstrated the possible future practical applications of the cultural heritage cloud. I hope that these presentations have motivated you to embrace digital technology in your daily work. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the participants for having shared with us very valuable insights on the realities you are facing, especially from the smaller institutions, and for making concrete suggestions for the future development of the Cultural Heritage Cloud and its community. Today we had some important challenges the sector is facing. Let me mention first the lack of digital skills among staff, understaffing, lack of broadband access, and proper IT equipment were just some of the issues that have already been raised. And in order to be able to grasp the opportunities that the Cultural Heritage Cloud and other digital initiatives will offer, it is crucial that we engage with the sector from an early on stage to ensure that the development of the cloud and its tools will match your needs and will be easy to use. After all, as the title of this event suggests, this will be a cloud for all. Now, this event marks the first step towards building a community of practice. We aspire, in close cooperation with you, to build a vibrant and dynamic community, a community of peers that exchanges best practices, tips, and advice, and allows its members to evolve and become proficient users of the cloud. Today's event also marks the first step towards that direction and certainly won't be the last. In the coming months, we shall intensify our communication efforts and our deliberations for building a community. We look forward to continue cooperating with you, and we have begun working in that direction. First, we have launched a dedicated Cultural Heritage Cloud website where you can find all information about the progress of this initiative, as well as relevant information from projects in the field of digital cultural heritage. Moreover, this will not be a one-way website. Our website will provide you with the opportunity to share cloud-related news that could be shared with the community. Secondly, in the coming weeks, we will be issuing a newsletter to reach out to you with useful information. And thirdly, we will be organizing a follow-up workshop, possibly towards the end of 2023, to continue working towards the development of this community. At the same time, we continue working towards the realization of the Cultural Heritage Cloud. This is being done through Horizon Europe calls. At the end of 2022, we published the first calls to set up the basic infrastructure and the first tools. To ensure that we will have top quality proposals, we are organizing a dedicated info day and a matchmaking online event on the 28th March for potential applicants from the cultural heritage sector and beyond. In this event, prospective applicants will have the opportunity to get the latest information, to ask questions, and also to meet and connect to identify possible partners for forming strong project consortia. You are invited to share this information and invitation with your networks or potentially interested applicants. In parallel, we are working to develop the work program 2024 of Horizon Europe with a dedicated call to develop the first round of tools for the Cultural Heritage Cloud. I want to reassure you that the findings from the stakeholder survey that we carried out last autumn, as well as today's discussions, will feed directly into the development of this call. Finally, we are working to promote synergies with other digital initiatives in the field of cultural heritage that exists at the EU and the member states level. Moreover, we are exploring the possibilities to mobilize additional funds for infrastructure, equipment, and training to ensure that we support the sector in a holistic manner. We will share all these informations into the Cultural Heritage Cloud website. In conclusion, my message to you is this: the journey has just begun. Let us all work together to create a community that is welcoming for every cultural heritage professional in Europe, that is supported and that is evolving. Thank you very much, and stay tuned. More is coming.
Thank you very much, Adeline, and thank you very much for all the speakers.
You're welcome. Thank you, and sorry, I totally forgot to thank all the facilitators before giving the floor to